Greetings, travelers, and welcome to Coriander Society Adventures. I'm your game master, tormented by gnomes, joined today by Ninja Man Matt and Pods of War. Matt, where you at?
I'm in my house.
Understandable. Have a nice day. Pods, what's going on in your world?
I'm also in my house. You asked me a different question.
I did ask you a different question because I haven't come up with a good question that rhymes for Pods, right?
Oh, is that what?
Yeah, every single time that I have Crowan on one of my shows, I'm like, Crowan, how's it going?
Oh,
it wasn't on purpose at first, but now I'm just leaning into it. So I don't know
either. But I'm good. I just got back from vacation and now we're chilling.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, I know. What's the score, Pods of War? That's what we'll go.
There you go. Bam. Got it in 2.
And you can have that one for free if you ever do like an esports weekly news show or something along those lines. Anyways, if you're just joining us, this is episode 60 of Coriander Society Adventures, a 5th edition fantasy campaign starring characters from all sorts of different worlds who travel to different dimensions, universes, and genres, battling against elder evils and learning the true meaning of friendship along the way. In our last adventure, our heroes on the desert planet of Ashen within the crystal sphere of Pyrespace in Spelljammer, Shadow of the Spider Moon. They went to the mysterious city of Spires where they mingled with the Marruspawn, the artificial entities created by the ancient colonists who took over this planet. They captured the Marruspawn Abomination, a powerful being genetically engineered with the very spark of divinity, sealed it in an iron flask, and then barely escaped as the drow raiders descended in their spelljammers upon the planet and tried to attack their spelljammer. They managed to escape, they all got off the planet, but the drow are still behind them in force as our heroes make their way across the stars. They must return to the planet Perianth to bring the Marruspawn Abomination to the elven King Indogalad, so he can use it in a ritual to free John Carmichael and their friend Charlie from the curse of the Night Twist. I think that's the large strokes thing going on. Anything crucial you two think I need to put in there?
I think you did a good job.
No.
All right. Awesome. Then our story resumes as our heroes ascend through the atmosphere of Ashen. As you crest over the horizon, the largest spelljammer you've ever seen in the shape of an enormous mother spider crests over the arcing planet of Ashen. But our heroes are not in a mood to fight. They are in a mood to bail. And so Lonnie Laysimple, the halfling spelljammer Ace, sitting on the helm, the magical throne that powers this ship with her goggles on, throws her spell slots into the ship, charging it up to maximum power. And as you accelerate away from the planet with the great mother spider floating behind you, you accelerate faster and faster. Deckhands lower the ethereal sails to catch whatever stellar winds they can to make maximum speed. And eventually you go faster and faster until you hit cruising velocity and leave the planet behind.
Hell yeah, Batman.
Captain Domnica gathers the crew together for a round of drinks and a post-battle assessment, doing damage control. The ship took some pretty hefty hits while you lot were inside dealing with the spawn of a god. And so they're going to need to replenish their atmosphere when they reach Verdura. Asena, they'll go ahead and, by way of explanation, you are currently next to Ashen, the innermost planet of the system.
Uh-huh.
The way spelljamming works, except when you're using the ether relay that they set up over Perianth, you essentially have to hop from planet to planet. So, there are 2 planets between us and Perianth, and it could take us up to a week to get to each.
A week?
Yeah, that's why they set up the relay. You can go on a really fast one-way trip anywhere leaving Perianth. But getting back to it, you have to go the long way. You're sailing between planets at this point. That's pretty fast.
Not fast enough.
You're not wrong, but unfortunately,
Technically,
it's
these
just the
planets
truth.
are all in the habitable zone, so they're all pretty close to each other. Just gonna put that one out there.
The math has already accounted for that, but thank you.
Well, then I don't see what your problem is. Sounds like we're all good.
I'm just explaining what's going on. Going over charts, Boguk Cairnmelter, the completely clean-shaven dwarven lorekeeper, will also explain to Asena. There are 4 worlds, 5 if you count the spider moon, 6 if you count the pyre itself, inside the habitable zone. And beyond that, there's only the Chain of Tears and the Forge, lost to us long ago. The first world that we're going to travel by is Verdura, the jungle world. It's completely overrun and taken by the Yuan-Ti, the serpent people. We have no plans to actually stop there. We're just going to dip down into the atmosphere to refresh our air supply and then make our way on to Quelia, the water world, where the humans and halflings dwell. The trade planet, it's relatively safe. But again, we have the supplies we need to just keep going after that. We'll just make a quick dip and then be on our way.
Are you scared of snakes?
Boguk!
You're scared of snakes, aren't you?
There's no cause to stir up trouble with them when we've no business with them. Not this time, at least.
What happened? Wait. There was a last time?
Oh, yes. The very first time we took a job for that elven King Indogalad, he sent us to go find the Temple of the Feathered Serpent, the greatest treasure on all of Verdura. You see, long ago, before they delved into unholy and corrupt magic, they were not snake folk. They were humans, just like yourself. They had a vast empire that spread through the tops of the jungles from around the entire world.
Who turned them into snakes?
It's one of the great mysteries of this world.
And the feather snake was a bird snake?
The feathered serpent was supposedly a slumbering guardian of incredible power, a god amongst them, who slept in a temple at the center of a lake atop a glittering mound, a mountain of gold and treasure.
Oh.
That's not what we
Sounds like
found.
a Dargan. What'd you
Worse.
find?
As we sat down in a lake nearby the location, lost for hundreds and hundreds of years, we hacked our way through the stinking, steaming jungles. We could hear the hissing rituals of the Yuan-Ti serpent folk. We knew we'd found the right place. It was a temple of unsurpassed beauty, ziggurats rising, intricately carved, covered with ancient moss, and a strange light at the very height of it, a flash of flame, a roar of wrath. And that was the first day we met John Carmichael.
Hi, how's it going?
He came running out of there with the entire serpent army on his tail, and we just happened to run into him. You see, as it turns out, the Temple of the Feathered Serpent was actually a gateway to a tower. One you've been to, Asena.
A tower I've been to.
Mm-hmm. I've never walked there myself, but John's told me about it, infested with demons and terrible traps, with gateways leading to all the places where the Pact Malefic has planted their tendrils.
Oh, the place where I almost killed Tenkoble.
Yep.
He looks over at Tenkoble, who's playing cards with Zomkug. Tenkoble just stares up, completely blank-faced. Goes back to his cards.
Technically, he was a snake person, too.
Sorry, what?
Lizard person. A little different.
It only depends on who you talk to, but... Suffice
Reptile person.
A reptile person. Well, by that account, then you and I are both monkey people, I suppose.
Yep, exactly. Which is why I think, the specific moniker makes a bit more sense than the generalization, don't you think?
But in this case,
I don't know about you. Where I came from, humans evolved from wolves, so,
Really?
To each their own. No, obviously not. That's ridiculous.
You can't
Maybe.
pull my leg like this, John. For all the travels you've done and the things you've seen, anything could be true.
And it is. It's all true. One way or another.
Just depends on where you're traveling. But I think we're all missing the real point here, and that is I need to know all the details about this time that Ten Kobold got turned into a lizard.
Oh, man.
For
He went somewhere
reasons.
he should not have been, stayed there too long, and then almost got sacrificed. It was kind of amazing.
The next time I don't feel too attached to any of my flammable belongings, I'm going to bring that up with him. Trust me.
Just remind him when we go someplace new, we should probably check with somebody who isn't just looking to get gold.
But the point is,
I know what the point is.
What's the point?
You don't want to go to Verdura because that's where you met John.
I have been nothing but a boon to this world since I arrived.
I knew I liked this one, John.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
No, John's
Okay,
been
the real point. The real point.
John's been a good friend, but Verdura is still, even though we uncovered perhaps one of the greatest mysteries of that world, there are countless other buried treasures and guardians and adventures to be had there. Plus, don't tell the elves I said this, but if the humans ever got a small little foothold on that world, they wouldn't have to pay such hefty prices for elven lumber. There's precious little wood on Quelia. It's mostly ocean. Several ambitious merchants have tried to set up logging camps on Verdura, but the jungle and the serpent folk take them every single time.
Yeah, it's incredibly dangerous. Nigh a death world, practically.
Well, I'm good with keeping the jungle as it is.
Well, we've precious little too, but tell tales and whatever else you see fit to on our way back. So go ahead and bunk up, grab some cards, however you choose to spend the time. How do you choose to spend the time?
I am going to mostly lounge about. I think it's been pretty hectic. But let me see if there's anything that John would like to use his downtime for.
I'm going to roll for your travel time to the jungle world of Verdura. 2 days. The planets are relatively close in their orbits right now. So
heck yeah.
Just a quick pop over. No big deal whatsoever. And we can skip right through it if you'd like. We don't have to linger too long. All depending on what tickles your fancy. Let me just clear all these monsters off the deck so that we can use the ship map if need be.
I'm just happy that I'm getting my long rest back. That's all.
Finally! Go ahead and
I'll tell you what.
What?
I am aside from taking a long rest, I'm absolutely going to be fashioning that shield of mine. I want to get that thing up and running.
We'll be working with, because Beatdown isn't with us today, we'll just go ahead and allocate all of his time to your project.
Yay! That sounds lovely.
I know, deep in his heart, that's exactly what he'd want to do, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Asena, is there anything in particular you want to do during this voyage?
Technically? Or storyly?
Any really.
What that word is.
Narratively.
Really?
Narratively. I don't think so.
Cool.
I think she's ready to continue on. We've had a lot of quests.
Stage of your adventure.
Yeah.
That's fair. Now, let's talk about all these Gith Zerai who are with you. Because they know they've been told that there are outrageous amounts of Illithids, mind flayers, to fight here.
Yes.
But aside from that one small elder brain that you completely fragged, they haven't actually seen any yet.
Yeah, and you took away my overmap, so it's a little more difficult to explain.
I can give you the overmap again. Hang on.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Where is Pyrespace? Hold on. You see, I have a yeah, that's not where I want to send you. Okay. Pyrespace map. There it is.
So John is going to get Hara's help in making that. Oh wait, John doesn't need anyone anymore. That's not true. But I got some assistance from Gastone to where I can take anything that I project within my AR goggles, and I have that dual disc to where I can, translate it to reality and make
Yeah.
holograms like dual monsters.
That's right. So you have a hologram projector you can use to project a star map or whatever else you need for demonstrative purposes. Also, Boga can cast tongues.
Hey, that's fantastic as well.
Tomorrow, after everyone's had a long rest, Saint
Wait, it hasn't been 2 days. Oh, we're not waiting the 2 days. Okay.
Yeah,
let's
just say after at least one rest, there's one little tiny montage on the way to Verdura during which the only thing I can think of that has to be discussed is we got to talk with these Gith Zerai.
That sounds fine. Well, then I absolutely am going to keep using my halfway talk in order to make sure that we can keep interacting. I present the star map of their world. I put the position that we're at, which is pretty relative to where we are on the map. And I inform them that at the forge and then beyond. Actually, where is this the actual
Chain of Tears? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Kind of hard to see. But it's the forge is the only planet outside the habitable zone. The Chain of Tears used to be the gnome homeworld before it blew up in a cataclysm a long, long time ago. Not actually caused by the Illithids. It's nobody has an exact record of what happened. But the forge is outside the habitable zone. The only reason it's inhabited, the forge, by the way, whenever anyone talks about the forge, Boguk gets very somber and very serious. Not Boigness, not the guy with the hat.
Boguk, the one without the beard.
Sena, the forge was our world. Too far away from the pyre, from the sun to receive its life-giving rays. It was the fiery heart of the forge that kept us alive, and we dwelled there in the deep. Veins so pure and rich of adamantine and gold and silver, beautiful chasms of natural crystal and underground lakes. It was a subterranean paradise until the Illithids came and took it from us.
And John recounts a bit of that, keeping the somber tone and being respectful. He informs them that once you pass this asteroid belts of sorts, you go into the space in which the mind flayers pretty much hold dominion. What I inform them is that our trajectory currently has us going to Verdura to, just kind of stop off, and then we'll head to Quelia to, I'm assuming that's where we're refueling, correct? Perfect. Yeah. And then we'll be heading to Perianth, in which from there, that's going to be kind of our home base and staging point. From there, nearby is the Spider Moon, of which the drow elves are allies of the Illithid. I will kind of catch them up and give a very, very simplistic update on the vision that John and Medwithin had shared, in that their alliance and that they're going to be pushing more so into the habitable space, and that we need to, if they seek to perform their Rakma, the forge is going to be the best place to start, since we actually know that there are going to be mind flayer servitors there, and possibly more elder brains. Other than that, there's just going to be ships flying around in the uninhabitable zone.
Flying ships through the void is more the purview of our estranged kindred. We of the Way of Zerth prefer a more direct approach. I will return to our monastery to speak with my peers, and we shall return to a time and place of our own accord. If there is indeed such a rich hunt, we shall emerge from limbo, and to limbo we shall return.
Because they have access to... Is it just teleportation, or is it just plane shift, or is it teleportation as well?
They have teleportation as well.
John is requesting, if they are cool with it, that there is a teleportation circle on Perianth, which they'd be able to hone in on. So if they would merely just join us on the journey, it should be quick back home. They can lock into that teleportation circle, so it would be easier for them to return if they choose to do so. And they're also going to be at a launching point where they would quickly be able to engage on the forge. And John will sweeten the pot by offering, without even asking her first, Asena's kick-butt services in training some of their lowly monks to be as awesome as she is, training with her astral projection punches. He's gonna make some big brouhaha about how you've seen her slap. She slaps hard. She's got some connection to, the astral plane. And if you were to stay, you'd be able to find out more about this wayward practitioner of astral fistiness.
Roll persuasion check, please, John.
I will do this thing you ask. Persuasion. John's gonna roll persuasion. Okay, 11. Hold on. And then I am going to go ahead
roll for nonsense.
Roll for nonsense. Yep. Here's a deduction die. Enjoy that. Wabam. Okay, that's a 13. And if this is going to fail, which it's probably going to, I get to roll a talisman die. Give me just a moment.
Wait, time out. What's the talisman die?
I have a talisman where if I fail a skill check, I can roll a d4 and it might make it succeed.
Where the hell did that happen?
When I became a warlock. That's the boon that I chose.
That's right.
Yep.
The power of Tiamat.
Which I keep rolling as low as I can here. So unfortunately, for you, I have one more roll. I'm going to use a lucky die.
Oh my god.
John, in every incarnation of this character,
has
always been pure nonsense.
So
special ability is
25 to 28. No. Okay, so that went from 11 to 28.
Oh my gosh.
And John finishes it by just kind of, and then Asena's just like, doing whatever Asena's doing.
Asena will nod.
Your way of thinking is backwards. This is not uncommon for those who dwell in the prime, those who are not tested by the pure chaos of limbo. It is not we who should train with her, it is her who should train with us. And though it is true that we would have much to learn from each other, such learning would only be truly manifest in our home monastery, where she could practice as we do amongst the zero-gravity chaos of limbo.
And John counters, but see, that's the thing about you floaties. You think that you know the best way that there is. You think you're closer to heaven and yada, yada, yada. But only when you're truly grounded are you able to bring the full force of not just your astral potential, but your actual meaty mass to the fray. This is what you can learn from Asena. You'd be able to teach her the spiritual aspects of floaty, and she'd be able to show you how to ground yourself and bring to bear the full might of both mind and, might.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even know how to think backwards if I tried.
I find that hard to believe. All right.
Back.
I assume you don't happen to have the coordinates of this teleportation circle just written down somewhere we could copy it and then catch up with you when you get to the other side?
Well, I mean, if I did, now not saying I do, but if I did happen to have such coordinates, do you have a means of jotting it down?
I require no such means, for my mind is a perfect record, upon which all that I have seen, experienced, and meditated upon is inscribed forever. You don't get the title of Enlightened One by guessing how many Skittles are in the shoe, you know what I mean?
Oh, I totally know what you mean. Okay, how about this? And John takes out his phone and flips through all of his different albums, of which a lot of them are scattered because he hasn't been keeping up with them. That's probably one thing he's going to do on this trip is resort all of his
G drive.
Exactly. But he goes to his summoning apparati, foci, and he goes ahead and pulls it up. And as he's about to present it to him, he goes, wait. If I could have just one request. Master, one of your glorious hairs from that wonderful beard in exchange for this transfer of information and safety of time. Did you say what?
XP?
Okay.
Why?
Oh, because John's trying to do a Galadriel, like, I want one of your hairs. I'll give you 3 kind of a thing.
With the old, wrinkly, wizened dude. Like
Don't yuck
he's-
my yum. How dare you?
he's-
He's a master of masters. He's a glorious beard.
So your beard wants to grow up to be his beard?
Yes.
All right, well, that 25 persuasion has to go somewhere. He will give you a hair from his beard.
Excellent. I take the hair, I put it away in my people to scry later pile, and I very graciously present him with my phone, not to take, but to memorize the teleportation
It is done.
magic. Excellent. And I very, very, as graciously as John can manage, bow before the master and the rest of his entourage and thank them profusely for their aid, not just with the Elder Brain, with the Abomination, and with the Drow pirates. They have become fast friends, and if ever they should need us, we would be happy to provide any aid that we can.
All right. Master Ja-Adak thanks you and Asena for your help in slaying the Gaich. It was a fine Rakma that will not be forgotten, and they will return to this world to cleanse it of the Illithids.
Excellent.
And Asena, their offer stands. Should you ever wish to study with the masters in their floating monasteries, they're sure that you could learn much from each other.
I will visit the floaties.
I like how they're the floaties now. All right. The Githzerai lock their hands together and focus their psychic energies, thinking of home. And they cast plane shift and flash out of the material world, returning to limbo.
That is so cool.
That's so cool.
All right.
I miss him already.
That is it for the boys. And there were only 6 of them that stayed with you. There are a few more, but anyways, they have enough plane shift that they all plane shift out, leaving Captain Domnica and the crew of the Pilgrim's Progress to continue cruising through space. And 2 days later, barring anything else, I know you're working on your tech armor, and I know Asena's probably partying with folk or hanging out, whatever. 2 days later, your ship arrives in orbit over Verdura, the steaming jungle world. Is that a raised hand?
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Mate, also on the first day, after we finish up with saying goodbye to his great beardliness, we are going to be putting to rest the souls that were lost in the recent pirate raid. There were a few crewmen that unfortunately we weren't able to protect from the pirates, and John wants to assist, I'm assuming Boguk and likely Domnica, in giving them whatever passes as like funeral rites out here in space.
Yeah, burial at space. Boguk presides over it in the deep chanting intonations of the dwarven language. Domnica raises a toast as they bundle them out and release them in the orbit of Verdura.
And mate,
yes,
how many of them perished? Do you recall? I think it was at least 2.
Yeah, it was at least 2.
Do you have a more specific number than that?
I, at this time, do not. I will have to consult the odds. What do you have in mind?
John is going to be giving a purse of gold to it's either Domnica or whoever is in charge of passing out the rations and money at the end of these trips. And he wants, just because we don't know how many there are, I'm just going to say John's going to donate 100 gold to be split amongst their families for their passing.
Well, how about we use that treasure that chat gave us a few minutes ago to go into their pockets?
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah. Stipend for them. All right. Anything else before we proceed?
I want to interrupt you one more time, but honestly, I don't have anything. I think so.
I get it. That's honestly a fair approach. I get it. I get where you're coming from. All right. The ship flies down into the atmosphere of Verdura. And whenever it leaves an atmosphere, whenever it leaves a planet, it has this pocket, this bubble that floats around it of breathable space. But the oxygen in that space goes bad over time as people continue to breathe it, and it doesn't have its own magical recirculators of any kind. So they just go down and let that envelope mingle with the atmosphere of a world. And here on Verdura, that atmosphere is hot, it's humid, and the lower you get, the more it smells like rotting vegetation. Just the steamy humidity of the jungle. Their plan is to only skim through like the atmosphere just enough to kind of refresh it. Since it was only a 2-day trip, they barely even want to do it. Like if it took a week, they'd need to recirculate longer. But given how favorable the space lanes were, they're just going to dip just barely low enough for you to see the enormous hundreds of feet tall trees that rise up to form the canopy. And Asena, as you look out over the bow through the mist and the fog, you can see the occasional stone ziggurat rising. Not unlike those of Zolquia, but on a completely different scale and just lousy with snakes. Completely covered with snakes. Matt, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for the ziggurat that John teleported through here on to I can point it out to Asena if it's here.
I mean, it's more fun if it is. Logically, it wouldn't be, because why would they happen to descend in that specific area? But by Star Wars logic, that would in fact be the area they float by. So you can see it rising from the center of a big lake.
Hey, that's it. That's where I came a few different times and just blew away. Just tons of those snake people. It was insane.
Oh
my God. There was this one time, my return trip, quite a while ago. So you remember how Bogug was explaining that the first time that they came here, they were coming to go explore this lost relic of a place. And I just came through guns blazing. I was surrounded by Yuan-Ti on all sides, just started throwing fireballs and dynamite like it was going out of style. And we met up and got out of there. Well, later on, I came back in order to try and catch up. And when I arrived here, they were performing some kind of ceremony. And it wasn't this big old party like it was last time. It was very solemn. And as I came through, there were some people who had remembered me from before, calling me the feathered serpent god or whatever. And then there were some that said, hey, wait a minute, didn't that guy kill a bunch of us the last time he was here? And so I kid you not, I turned, looked down at the one who said that, zapped him, and just disintegrated him right there on the spot. And I said, that is correct, in like the most godly voice I could. And apparently they thought that I could do that on the regular and not just once a day, because they all backed off after that. And I was able to leave the ziggurat and meet up with the pilgrims. So that was fun. Yeah, memories.
I don't know if this is really cool or terrifying.
A little bit of both.
How come you're not like this anymore?
Because Hara can do it now. You know, it's one of those things that when you can wield phenomenal cosmic power and you realize that you're a selfish bag of meat that's looking out for yourself and your friends, and even when you have really good intentions and you're just trying to do some form of good in the world, you can't know everything and do everything, and maybe you should pull your punches a bit, which is why I'm a little more along the lines of we should talk it out before we start shooting. I spent a lot of time shooting because I got shot at a lot because I was on my own a lot. I'm very, very glad that I'm with you all now. It's honestly much better. I prefer this immensely. I will give up disintegration any day if I've got someone to watch my back. Anyway, bye.
Hara later on notes that should you forever, for any reason, ever find yourself stranded here, well, perhaps not you, Asena, but that temple is a way out of this universe. There's two known direct paths out of this universe. One connects to Lacunas, it's on Ashen. One connects to the Obsidian Spire, and it's right there in that temple.
Why can't I go through it?
Do you need to?
I think I need to go through something.
Yeah, but you tend to have an easier time of finding your way through little cracks in the universe.
So there might be more cracks.
Yes.
I want to find cracks.
Let's. And they take off, and for the next few days, the ship is going to be a little bit muggy, you know? Because there's no atmosphere exchange between the void outside of the ship's air envelope and the air that you're carting around with you. So it's a bit of a muggy trip. Nobody is a huge fan of restocking their air supply at Verdura, but it's not like there's a huge amount of choice. Next stop, Quelia, the water world. A 3-day trip. You are doing really, really well. Anything else you want to cover during those 3 days?
Is my shield done?
No. It'll be done when you're like there.
Oh. Well, I keep working on my shield, I suppose.
All right.
Asena's gonna visit Waith and give him a toy.
Ooh, what are you giving him?
I'm gonna give him the Maru mummy.
He sets it up in his bunk, like watching over him as he sleeps to protect him from evil.
I thought he might like that more than me carrying it around.
It's just another mummified Waith, right? It's just a full scale, like. All right, awesome. Yeah, he's gonna use that to keep the evil away.
Nice.
3 days later, you arrive, and Quelia is very bright in the distance when you look at it. Now the sun's on it. The surface is mostly water, so there's some glare. It's got decent cloud cover, but also like it's practically the Bahamas, the planet. It's just a big old tropical planet with a huge equatorial zone with sunlight, like not a whole lot of axial tilt, not a lot of seasonal variation. And it is mostly water. There's green islands with white sandy beaches and a couple of little tiny mountains here and there, especially around volcanic ranges, and covered with ships. The people on this world, they live in just almost on the move because there's so little land. Wherever they do find enough land, they build these market towns with just huts and floating ships all tethered together, gathered around this one source of fresh water, food, and so on and so forth. It's a nice place, honestly. Not an awful place to vacation if you like sun, sand, and salt water.
Yeah.
But it's only been 3 days. People are wondering, should we stop in Lagos to resupply and get some more timber to repair? As long as we don't meet anybody along the way, we should be fine.
That sounds like a terrible idea. We're going to be passing by the spider moon going to Perianth.
Yes,
we got ambushed on Ashen.
Well, yeah, but Ashen is worlds away from Perianth. The flotilla is there over Perianth. You know, the elven armada.
I'm going to tell you right now, if this is Joe the DM saying, just move on, it's going to be fine. Okay. If this is some mook in story trying to get us to get bombed by pirates, no, absolutely not.
All right. You know that the chance of an encounter is not 0. Does John think they should stop and resupply?
John's not the captain.
Does John think you should stop and resupply? You don't get a vote, but you get a word in.
John looks at Gastone, Hara, and Asena. Hey, Hara, if you had to, could we do that teleport maneuver of yours to jump onto one of those ships?
She nods.
Oh, sorry. I did say Hara. I meant Asena.
Oh.
But yeah, Hara could do it too.
Uh-huh. She's also...
I think we're fine. I think we're fine.
I could do it. You want to do it right now?
Yeah, sure.
To what ship? Hara points out.
I was going to let Asena provide that.
I can't just conjure a ship.
I used to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Hara, have you tried? You could probably do it.
Why?
That's a fair question.
To give Asena something to teleport to.
I'd prefer to reserve my arcane power in case of an actual crisis.
This is a joke, by the way. I just want to make sure we're all, on the level here.
Oh.
Anyway, no, I think if we were to be besieged by pirates, we would see a large force looming on, well, not the horizon. There is no horizon in space, unless it's an event horizon. But if it's just a wayward ship or a small party, I think we got it.
All right, Asena, any thoughts?
Hara, do you know how to do spell tattoos?
She looks over at John. No. But I'm sure John still has the knowledge, right?
Yeah,
What did you have in
absolutely.
mind?
I don't know. I miss my dragon breath. That thing was really cool.
Okay.
Well, that was a lot easier than I thought.
See, the thing is that Hara actually likes Asena. John, because you don't have the magical power anymore, but you still have the know-how and the crafting skills, you'd need to collaborate with Hara in order to put a dragon breath tattoo, and it would take one of your work days during this next leg, which I haven't rolled for yet. Are you okay with spending one of those work days on that?
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
I also like Asena.
So, Domnica looks down wistfully at the beautiful, shining, clear waters of her home world, but this is not a time to go on vacation or to return home. The seas where she's being hunted down by pirate hunters who have never forgotten her name or face. So it's onward to the forest world of Perianth that we go. And once again, a very short journey of 3 days. Ooh, during which time you are just barely not attacked by drow pirates.
Wow. Drow pirates?
Mm-hmm. They live nearby. The spider moon orbits Perianth. Go ahead and add a spell tattoo of Dragon's Breath, Asena.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Now, Hara's power works slightly different from John's. If you do Lightning Breath, it will be slightly stronger than any other element because she is a storm sorcerer.
Neat.
Ooh,
So,
Okay.
just keep that in mind.
that's sick, cat, bruh. Writing it down.
Thank you.
I'm just writing lightning.
At last you return to Perianth. Of the worlds you've traversed so far, it is the darkest, the furthest from the pyre. Still within the habitable zone, but in a cooler, more crisp, more chill band. Covered with evergreen forests, barely any visible water. It's down there, but there aren't huge, massive oceans. It's more like a ton of scattered lakes. You've seen it before on your way, from this perspective, on your way off the planet when you were beginning your journey using the ether relay to make this voyage. But at last you return, and Molly Lyklin is excited to come back home. She's always excited to come back home. The rest of the party's like, all right, time to get down to business. Let's get paid. As you descend through the atmosphere slowly, very slowly, always carefully, no reason to build up re-entry flames when you have magical self-control, you know? You float down, and that cool, misty air fills your lungs and touches your skin, and the eternal near twilight of the elven homeworld awaits you. It's kind of refreshing and soothing, especially after the bright, burning deserts of Ashen and the terrible dust storms that fused glass in the atmosphere from the sheer static pressure of it all. You are on your way back to Indogalad's court. The Court of Fluris, a beautiful elven city built in the trees beside a series of lakes. And there is a Spelljammer. One of those tall trees has a platform and an anchor point where the Pilgrim's Progress descends and they tie you off. And there's very quickly an envoy waiting for you. Spellblade guards are present there, very beautifully dressed with elegant gowns, all sorts of elven nobles and envoys with their fans that they use to communicate cryptic social messages to each other. What's that save for, John?
I'm just doing some light role play. See if I throw up Black Ichor on the way.
That's fair. That's completely understandable.
You.
All right, let's go ahead and take our heroes back to orbit of Perianth.
How long did it take us to arrive at Perianth from Ashen?
Total of 8 days of travel. So you're gonna make 6 more saves?
Maybe. What's it to you?
No, it's valid.
Maybe.
Completely
No,
valid.
I'm clicking it and it's just kind of stopped. I think we're going to get like a chain of them in a moment.
It's just gonna. You may not puke black bile, but Roll20 is about to puke a bunch of rolls.
Dude, for real though.
All right. Here we go. That is a natural 1.
That is a natural one.
And a couple of 8s, which are not successes.
They're not good, no,
Mm-hmm.
is the thing.
Journey home is rough. John
Started off real good, and then
Mhm.
it got real bad.
By the time you get back, John's looking very pale. There's visible, like his veins are starting to turn this tarry dark color. His lips are kind of stained from all the that he's been doing. His condition has continued to deteriorate, but the Elven Court of Fluris is eager to welcome you. There's a whole fancy delegation there to receive you. Elven ship dockhands arrive to start immediately repairing the Pilgrim's Progress and the damage that it took in the space battle, bringing in new supplies, offloading people. You remember, it feels like it's been ages, but the elven hospitality that you received when you first arrived here is immediately reasserted. The Princess Adthea is particularly eager to hear how things went. Is there anyone in particular that a lot of you want to see? John, are you like, we got to get this thing going right now? What's the plan?
How is Charlie doing?
Well, let's
Is he
roll
pretty
6
okay?
saves for 8 saves for Charlie.
For what?
Because he's also cursed.
You should probably give Charlie
yeah.
advantage because he's not nearly as cursed as John. Okay, well, never mind then.
No advantage for him, but the curse's effects aren't as bad. But I'm going to say that because he beefed his saves so badly, he's also in an accelerated state of decay.
Ow. So John's doing one of those things where he's very, very tired. He's just been, throwing up black bile, just kind of hugging the starboard area of the ship. When they went onto the planet side for Quelia, that was when he started turning, so he stayed on the ship and just kind of locked him and Charlie away. And he doesn't have his similar magics that he used to anymore, but he spends a lot of time trying to ward off the evil within them, and is just kind of been segregating them from most of the other people in the ship, just to prevent any. There's definitely rumors abound about what's going on, but just not to be super obvious about their appearance and the way that they're feeling. But once they arrive, he does make it clear, at least for Charlie's sake, John's fine, that we should probably get underway before long. +1 XP.
Asena, is there anything that you want to do before the ritual begins?
I'll talk to Adthea.
All right. Princess Adthea, young daughter of, by elven standards, she's only probably 20-something, which is real young for elves. Eyes like a pool in spring, gorgeous flowing hair, that earring that connects like a chain to... Does she have a... No, she just has really dangly earrings, and her pet, which is a squirrel with a unicorn horn, and her handmaiden Mireth. They are eager to speak with you, and they'll go ahead and welcome you in their chambers, Asena, alone. I take it no one else is going with you.
John would, but he's not really up to it right now.
Yeah, Indogalad is going to be like, you with me. This moment has been long awaited. I will start preparing the ritual right the hell now.
Do we need to change into like ceremonial garb, Charlie and John?
You will undergo a cleansing.
Should I take off my vest if I'm going to be going through a cleansing?
You have to get in hospital gowns.
Yes, with the butt flaps and everything. You're gonna set we're gonna take you to the baths. You're gonna set aside all your gear. You're gonna bathe in
Oh.
holy spring water.
Well, not all my gear.
I mean, you can set it right next to you.
John takes a hold of his now symbol of Tiamat, and he can't take that off. Also, by the way, John has hidden just like 8 little marks of Tiamat all over the Pilgrim's Progress.
Okay.
He went
In
and
order to
found just like
fulfill
little
his oath.
cracks and crannies where he was just graffitiing the ship.
Okay.
Anytime they flew by and there was some kind of like space debris, he would grab the space debris and like put it on the bed and like lay on that so that way he could graffiti that instead of the ship whenever possible. Just trying to find whatever he can to try and worm his way off and not just covering her ship in Tiamat graffiti.
All right. While Charlie and John go for this scrub down, there's a beautiful spread of food, elven wine, crisp nectar, grapes, apples, some little candied sweets, all set out on a tray for you as Adthea paces back and forth. Asina, you've returned. Tell me of your journey. What news do you have to share?
Wow, we killed the god thing.
You killed it. You were supposed to bring it back.
Well, see, what happened was we were far too strong for it. And so we accidentally killed it because we were just so good. I'm just kidding. It's in the bottle.
Oh, okay. Well, that means that John isn't going to die from the inside as unholy plant matter expands from his very heart in an agonizing process, devouring his soul and transforming him into an evil tree that spreads a song of sorrow and woe for miles and miles around. That's good news.
That would be really bad.
Yes. Yes.
We made friends with some Githyanki.
You made friends with Githyanki. That's incredible.
Yeah, and we fought some Illithids with them. That was cool.
Where?
In space.
That tracks. Yes, that is where you would have spent most of your time.
Technically, it's the astral plane, which I'm pretty
astral
good at.
plane. You weren't. Now, why on earth did you end up? Why in Perianth, actually, not Earth? Why did you end up in the astral plane?
You know, the details are a little fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely wasn't my fault.
Roll deception.
I know when I say
unless you're backtracking, roll a deception check. Unless Asina literally believes that this was not her fault.
I can't even remember if it was my fault or not.
Pro tip for those of you at home, it was.
You fought alongside Githyanki, battled Illithids, traveled to the astral plane, and captured the Marruspawn Abomination. What else did you see or learn? Tell me everything. Tell me everything.
Okay, there was some spider moon ships.
Oh, the drow. You came across them. Where?
In the sand world.
Sandworld, Ashen. That would make sense. They've been looking for the treasures of the ancients ever since they got their hands on Spelljammers, so I assume they'd be looking for that on Ashen.
Yeah, there was a big sandstorm and tons of them. But I did pretty good. I can teleport now.
You can teleport now. What does that feel like?
Feels like when I go into the astral plane, but on a much smaller scale.
And what does that feel like, going to the astral plane?
It feels like nothing.
Like numb? Like you can't feel your own body? Like you can't feel your face?
No, I'm not numb. I don't know. It's just like emptiness. I'm not very good at explaining it.
That's all
We
right.
could do it sometime, though.
I would like that. After we've taken care of the ritual and John and Charlie are safe, yes, I would like to do that.
Okay, but I can only do it once a day.
I don't suppose my father would be particularly pleased with me going to the astral plane and not coming back.
Oh, no. We probably shouldn't go to the astral plane, but I could teleport you.
Oh,
We could
yes.
teleport. It'll be like a mini astral jump. It's not a jump at all. I'm just moving you 30 feet.
I mean, it could be like a jump. Depends entirely on how that manifests itself. But yes, I would like to try that.
Okay.
Can you show me now?
You don't think I need it now, do I?
You're
Need it
in
later?
the heart of the court of Fluris, surrounded by
Everything's fine, right?
my father, the most powerful mage on the planet, and all of his elite guards. And Mireth is here. Mireth won't let anything bad happen. Mireth
Yeah.
smiles politely.
There's definitely no chance I'm going to need this later today. We should just do it now.
Yes, we should do it now.
Point of
Well-
order, by the way, before we got off the ship, John would have given his inspiring speech to make sure that the full party has temporary hit points. Just putting that out there.
All right, noted.
Throwing up all the while, very
Just-
inspiring.
I believe in all. Together we can.
4 and oh god.
Okay, well, where do you want to go? It's
You
got to
said-
be 30 feet. And she looks around.
How about the
Straight
roof?
up.
Yeah,
Straight up.
Straight up.
The roof?
Mhm.
Okay. I think if I gotta take you, we gotta hold hands or something.
She immediately reaches out with her hands are covered with jewelry. But it's not like huge, thick. They're all like small, slender twists of precious metals and delicate little gems and your hands, I imagine, are fairly calloused from all the punching and training and drills that you do, unless you've got some sort of kick-ass lotion routine. Hers
Definitely don't.
like have never touched anything that was higher than a 1.5 on the Mohs scale of hardness in her life.
Unless it was a diamond.
Unless it was a diamond, yes, which would be a 10.
Asano will reach her hand out to Med Within.
What's
have to come
Medwithin
too.
doing here?
So, Mireth, sorry.
Mireth, sorry.
all these,
Not
all
Med
these
Within.
flowery elven names with M's and
names,
stuff.
yeah.
All right, yes, Mireth will absolutely hold out her hand to you.
Okay. I actually only ever done this once, but I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
Alakazam.
All right. You want to go ahead and just poof.
Yeah.
There's a burst of astral energy blasting the tray of goodies and everything within 15 feet of you and inflicting force damage. Just detonating a small, like, boom, a grenade goes off inside of the princess's quarters as you teleport straight up, arriving 10 feet above the soft, leafy canopy. And you see a look of pure delight on Adthea's face and just like, I have so many questions. Mireth looks down and reaches over and grabs Adthea midair as the lot of you plummet 10 feet through the trees, taking no damage, but arriving on the sort of wicker overhead, the living wood twine that is the roof. Yes, that was completely different from any teleport I've ever experienced.
That
When
was
did-
fun, huh?
Yes, that was magnificent. You see Mireth looking down through the twine at the there's like water and wine and just like blasted everywhere in all directions. You set off a small shockwave in my chambers when you teleported. Is that supposed to happen?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That probably would have been best to mention earlier. I wonder why that is. Most teleporting doesn't work that way.
Well, I figured you'd still be cool with it even if you knew.
It probably would have been better to tell me first so I could have moved some of my things, but now we can study the blast pattern.
Ah, true. See? Couldn't have done that if you were precautious.
Exactly. Well, I mean, yes, we could. We could have actually set up some additional items in order to get. Mirith puts a hand on Althea and says, "I will tend to the chamber immediately, princess." And
It comes in handy, especially if you're around a bunch of bad people.
yes, yes, absolutely. It's both a form of escape and a form of offense. That's very useful magic. We'll have to try that again. Not today, but again in the future.
I can't do it again till tomorrow.
Exactly. So we'll have to do it again, but not now.
I wonder how come I can only do it once a day.
Well, a lot of magic works that way. It takes time to build back up within the reserves of the spell matrix within your own cell, whatever vessel that you manifest. Very common.
Imagine if I could only punch once a day. That'd be awful.
Yes,
That's why I'm so strong.
because you have the power to punch more than once per day. I doubt that. I suspect that it has more to do with the combination of your heritage and your upbringing. And your practice.
Nah, that can't be it.
Well, it's true for the Flores family. That's why we have such strong magic. Most elves study wizardry, but we also have a sorceress bloodline that we're able to integrate with the two arts together. I tend to focus more on the sorcery side. I like the spontaneity of it all. I know that I come across as highly scholastic and focused in all of these things, but there's a certain freedom in just letting the magics resonate and sing through. It's a form of emotional expression that I find quite satisfying when everything else needs to be so analytical.
So you think if I teleport every single day and I practice, I can do it more than once a day?
Maybe. There's only one way to find out.
Do it every day.
Yes.
It's not a bad idea. Thank you.
Was there anything else you had to share?
Nope.
We should go and see what my father is doing and see if John and Charlie are all right. Oh, I have an important part that I have to play in the ritual too. We should go.
Really?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay.
All right. The lot of you make your way to the king's throne room. All the courtiers, the elven nobles, the hangers-on have been expelled from the chamber. The floor of the audience chamber is a transparent pane of glass with interwoven branches of living wood beneath it, forming magical patterns, loops within loops, knots within knots. And depending on which aspects of those knots are activated, this area can serve as a myriad of different magical circles. For this ritual, most of the pilgrims are neither needed nor wanted. Is there anybody you're going to vouch for that you want to be present? It's going to involve, Indogalad warns you, this is a complex piece of magic. It has never been attempted before. It is of my own design. The forces with which we tangle are hazardous to mortal health. You don't need me to tell you that, my friend. It would be best to shield as many as possible from its influence. Is there any who you must have at your side?
Well, Charlie for sure.
Of course.
John looks to Asena and Gastone. I mean, we've been going with each other almost everywhere since we, formed this little group of ours. But you don't have to come if you are worried about any possible side effects.
You're trying to kick me out of the room.
I'm not trying to kick you out of the room. I'm giving you an out if you choose to take it. I'd be happy to have you.
What could really go wrong?
Well, the curse could explode out of me and transfer to everyone in the room. This curse could get malfunction in some way, and possibly Indogalad could turn into a giant, horrible scion of its power. Everyone here could turn into saplings of goo. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not really sure. Indogalad, what could go wrong by your estimation?
We are going to strip the spark of divinity from a creature created with the technology of the ancients. I have no idea what could go wrong.
But we do have an idea of what could go right.
Exactly, which is why we're doing this.
I'd like to have Hara, and I'd like to have Gastone and Asena if they choose to join me. I'm not going to force any of them.
Of course. I'm going to say Gastone is going to stick with you, speaking for him on this one, but if he wants to retcon that when next he is with us, that's totally fine.
And yeah, I'd like to have Medwithin if she's
Medwithin is
down to clown.
one of the participants.
Very good.
As is Adthea.
Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, that's right. Interesting.
Yes. She's a well-trained sorceress.
Mate, correct me if I'm wrong. Was there anybody else aside from myself and actually was John with the Pilgrims when they took down what was his name? The previous tree,
Coryllis?
Coryllis, that's right.
I think Boguk was there. At the very least.
I mean, I think I'd offer anybody who had assisted John with taking down that evil tree if they'd like to see it through. They can certainly join him. But if anyone doesn't want to, I'm not going to say, hey, come possibly die during this ritual.
Boignus says, old friend, I know better than to bring my particular brand of into something this complicated. I'll see you safe on the other side. But Boguk, the lore keeper, Bundus Athur, I'm with you until the end.
Absolutely. Also, if you wouldn't mind putting that ward on me, that might be useful.
Indogalad holds up a hand. No other magic must be added. This is a delicate piece of high magic. Leave off with your spell.
Understandable.
All right. So, the non-participants of the ritual who are still with you are Mireth, Asena, Gastone, Boguk, and Hara. Everyone else has left the room. He even dismisses his bodyguards.
Oh.
They are going to stay right outside. Indogalad switches to a different set of robes. Deep, rich purples, inscribed with runes of protection and some unfamiliar scripts. Although I think you have Eyes of the Runekeeper now, so we'll get into that in a moment.
Yep. No, Devil's Sight, not Runekeeper.
Devil's Sight. All right, no, not Runekeeper.
But I am a rune mage, so there's that.
Before we begin this rite, each of you must swear a solemn oath not to reveal what transpires within this chamber to anyone who is not already within it. Everything that I do for the sake of my friend, John Carmichael.
And his ward, Charlie.
Yes. Do you so swear?
I solemnly swear everything you just said.
He looks back over Hara, Boguk. Hara scowls, but when it's clear that there's no other option here, she'll go ahead and mutter her affirmation along with it. Boguk will look suspicious and grave, but nod and go along with it. We'll let Gastone make his own choice. Mireth bows and swears. Asena, what about you?
Yes.
Very well then. Adthea.
And Charlie, you're
I'll
not gonna
swear
say anything.
anything to get this out of my head. Very well then.
By the way, point of order, as part of this, that budding evil defense that I gave Charlie was kind of the only thing keeping him from being terminated by Rousamon, Master of the Unknown. Charlie, do you feel pretty confident that you've built up your mental defenses in the last few years that you'll be okay without it?
His eyes widen, and then Medwithin holds up a hand and says, "If this Ralzamon dares intrude upon our sanctuary, I shall answer him."
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
All right, then. Indogalad looks past all of you to the southern point of the compass that you're all forming. The oath is sworn. My advisor, you may reveal yourself. The air shimmers, and a ragged, cloaked, and masked figure appears.
Hello there.
She lowers the hood of her cloak as a drow covered with acid and explosion scars looks up at you with a big old grin.
I know who this is.
And we will find out who she is when we return from a short break. Don't go anywhere, folks. More Coriander Society adventures coming soon.